Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Julius Nyeri CBPM UNIA-ACL Division 421 Atlanta, Georgia mass meeting. Today is August 28, 2022, and it's 5:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, our topic, we will be going over the convention that happened in Detroit and also Marcus Garvey Day. And if we have time, then I may read something from Marcus Garvey, race first, UNIA versus the US. That's if we have time. So, all right, I'm gonna start with the pledge to the red, black, and green. Could y'all please stand? All right. I commit my body, mind, and spirit.
I commit my body, mind, and spirit
to the protection, defense, and security.
To the protection, defense, and security
of the red, black, and green.
Of the red, black, and green.
I dedicate my life.
I dedicate my life
to the redemption of Mother Africa.
To the redemption of Mother Africa.
And the liberation of us scattered Black children.
And the liberation of us scattered Black children.
I accept for myself and my descendants.
I accept for myself and my descendants.
The teachings of universal African nationalism.
The teachings of universal African nationalism.
And promise that our children will be instilled.
And promise that our children will be instilled.
With the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people.
With the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people.
In order that the cause of our struggle.
In order that the cause of our struggle.
Will neither falter nor fail.
Will neither falter nor fail.
Until all Black people are free and united.
Until all Black people are free and united.
One God.
One God.
One aim.
One aim.
One destiny.
One destiny.
Race first.
Race first.
Okay. All right. Let me do our guidelines for our meeting. Today, I'm not really for sure how this meeting is going to flow, but the first half is related to the organization. The second half is member share. You can share about a topic of your choice during member share. And then after we finish the first half, then if you want to ask questions or comments related to the topic, you can do that. To ensure we can hear our speakers, keep your phone on mute. When you're not speaking, I hear some noise in the background, like right now. Have a pen and paper available to take member contact information. Hold on right quick, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me get back on the page. Somebody was calling me, so I got off the page. There will be people on this call with different religions and opinions than of your own. It's okay to disagree, but let's not become disrespectful and nasty towards one another. Ladies, do not give out your personal phone number during the call. Instead, give out your business number or email, and do not use the N-word during the call, and be mindful of overusage of curse words. There are children that tune in and elderly people that tune in. So I'm gonna pass it to President John. President John, I'm not for sure if you wanted to go first, but I think that you should do your report first, since you have to get off so you don't have to stay on long.
But the art, we're getting some feedback on your mic.
Okay. Well, is there some lines open?
Brother Art, are you there?
Could we close the lines, all of the lines? Okay, is there reverb now?
I had to mute it. I was trying to communicate with him, but I just had to mute him.
Oh, okay. I thought you was talking to me, telling me that it was reverb on my line.
No, it was somebody else.
Oh, okay. Did you want to go first, President Johnson? You don't have to be on the whole time, so you can get off.
I mean, I'll probably be on until we. Well, yeah, yes. All right. So let's start with the roll call.
Okay.
For right now, we have myself, Brother John, member number 307, serving as president. We have our first vice president, member number 390, Brother Mosiah. We have our first lady vice president, I want to say 177. I'm going to verify that. Sister Tania. We have Dr. Shams, member number 172 out of New York. We have the Colonel of African Legion in Atlanta, member number 149, Baba James. Assistant Treasurer, member number 140, Brother Andrew. We have longtime CBPM and UNIA member, future, soon to be UNIA member, Brother Art, representing out of Annandale, Virginia. And then we have on the conference, I'm not finished with that. On the conference line, we have member number 424, Brother Sean, representing Baker, Louisiana. And lastly, looks like we have President Ross Marvin, our treasurer, has returned from Jamaica. Welcome back, President Ross Marvin.
Thanks, President John. Greetings, family.
Greetings. So we are 9 on the call for tonight, Sister Tania.
Greetings. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last thing you said.
We have 9 on the call, I think.
Okay.
Jumping in. Member number 165, Legal Defense Committee Coordinator, Attorney Emo. So we makes 10 on the call right now.
All right. Well, we can start with the reviews.
Okay. So let me share my screen. So greetings, family. Today is August 28th. Last time we met was August 14th. And we've had a very, very busy 2 weeks. So I just wanted to give a recap of the things that have been going on these past 2 weeks. So after our meeting on the 14th, UNIA parent body, 4th Assistant President General, Brother Art, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, John.
Your line keeps coming off mute and you got some feedback.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you. Past couple weeks, very busy, and want to make sure I recap with the membership what's been going on and the things that we would need help with as we move forward. So as I said, we had a meeting on the 14th, and that was preparing for Garvey Day as well as International Convention. On Monday, August 15th, our 4th Assistant President General, Brother Quahir, out of Queens, New York, is working to organize the African Legion. So we had a call on that Monday. Our active colonel of the African Legions, Baba James, was there. Myself, Brother John, I was there. So Division 421 had good representation. Other divisions, Chicago, Baltimore, Buffalo, also had good representation. And obviously the Assistant President General is out of New York. So during that meeting, we were kind of just going over the structure of the legions. Let me pull up another page really quick. Let me see. Guess I'll do this. Where's this at? 1 second. I'll find my page. 2022. Still here. Okay. So as I said, we were discussing African Legion. As always, our foundation and base for anything that we do should be the Constitution. And that's what we were discussing on that call, is basically how the Constitution lays out the structure of the African Legion. So I'll just go through that briefly. One thing that we talked about was, the authority of the fourth assistant president general, and I guess that authority is subject to the president general's empowering the fourth assistant president general. But Section 2A says all orders affecting Universal African Legion issued of divisions or chapters shall be issued through the president of the local division or chapter, who in turn shall issue to the military commander of his division or chapter. And actually, the military commander and the president are actually the same title and the same individual, so it's kind of weird. All of which shall first be approved by the president general and administrator. So anything that we do locally from an African Legion standpoint, obviously would be approved by the president general, but it would be controlled by local representatives. And that was one of the big things that we wanted to make clear, because fourth assistant president general, I guess, had the mindset that, he can, kind of direct what the local legions do, but we had to come to an agreement based on the Constitution. So as far as officer positions, right now we only have the first two positions staffed. The commander of the African Legion in Atlanta would be the acting president. So that would be me, Brother John, and Baba James has stepped up to volunteer to lead our Legion here in Atlanta. So he would be serving as the colonel. In the subsequent positions, honorary colonel, these individuals that are inactive except for consultation or advice. So elders, lieutenant colonel, major, captain, first lieutenant, second lieutenant, cadets, and Boy Scouts. But basically, there's a focus to reorganize the African Legion, and myself and Baba James will be leading that, and we will be reaching out to brothers specifically to serve in the African Legion. So any questions on African Legion? And before we go to questions, Baba James, I wanted to open the floor up to you, Colonel Baba James. Was there anything that you wanted to add in regards to what you're hearing for the vision for African Legion nationally as well as locally in Atlanta? Baba James, you there? Baba James, you're not? Okay, we'll come back to Baba James. Any questions, comments?
I apologize, race first. I couldn't find my mute.
Okay. Anything that you wanted to add from your perspective for the vision for African Legion locally and nationally?
I will first want to say race first in regards to our current responsibility for the protection of our people. We have quite a bit in store for us. As a division, we are going to practice what's in the Constitution. Any feminine energy who wants to participate in the Legion activities should know that they will be part of the Motor Corps. And we still have to structure all of those type of responsibilities for ourselves as a division. We are doing heavy recruitment. So anybody who is currently a member of the division who would like to participate can contact myself or Brother John. through the division, or if you need my phone number, it's area code 404-254-9418. I can only say that we have quite a bit ahead of us in this particular journey, and I'm looking forward to making sure that we all get through it. Race first.
Race first. Thank you, Baba James. I'll go ahead. I'll be generous and open the floor for any individuals that would like to volunteer themselves to serve and support the African Legion, brothers specifically. Any volunteers for African Legion, the defense of the African race here in the local jurisdiction?
Of course, I'm already in the league. Yes, definitely. Brother Macy.
Thank you, Brother Macias. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna hold that open too long because time is of the essence. But what I will say, I'm gonna just throw it out there, and everyone is free to reject the proposal, obviously. But I would need all brothers that are within the age range, and I think we have a couple people that are outside of the 55, the age requirement of 55 years. But please be prepared for those that are within the age bracket to be recruited, basically. So even if you don't say anything now, and I know who's eligible, so for those that are eligible, we will be reaching out to you for recruitment to African Legion.
And I would like to add, President John, in the defense of ourselves, there are many, if not pretty much all different job types that are needed in that effort to be able to defend ourselves to the optimal capacity. So you may not be a frontline person, but everyone's definitely needed, whatever skills that we have to be focused on defending ourselves at all times.
Yes. Yeah. So
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Brother Sean.
What do they have that would apply to me for as my job is concerned? Because of driving 18-wheelers and my note is $2,300 a month. So, that's besides my other bills I got to pay. But I want to volunteer wherever I can fit in. I'm trying to get in.
Understand. Can you repeat you saying where? Can you repeat the question specifically as far as you said how would?
What openings? Yeah, no, I said what openings? You say volunteers.
Yes.
So I'm volunteering, but I want to be able to be effective and still be able to do my job as my responsibilities to myself. To my family.
Understand.
Because I'm driving 18-wheelers. I'm driving 18-wheelers what I'm saying, and I'm not in the Atlanta area.
Well, understand that would be up to us as leadership to kind of get you organized in what we have going on. But it would be a combination of looking at what you're doing, the skills that you have, and how they could apply to the Legion or the African Motor Corps. Not all, just because you're a man doesn't mean African Motor Corps is the best place, depending on the skill set. So you being out of state gives you a little bit more leeway in regards to responsibilities. So I would ask Brother Sean, at this point, based on your location and where you're based, your support would be what you've done in the past, attending the meetings, paying dues if that is on the table. But I don't think we're not organized to that point of we would need a division in Louisiana. specifically for you to have a headquarters.
Okay.
From an African Legion standpoint, I wouldn't want to. Baba James, what you think? That seems out of our reach, to try to be telling somebody in Louisiana what they should be doing, where they should be going.
Well, as what we have to do as a division, using the resources that we currently have available, if any member of our Legion has skills that can be used, we will use them the best of our ability.
Yeah.
As we move as a division, we're all going to have opportunities to activate each other. And for example, the brother said he drives trucks. If he drives trucks, he might be able to pass a message or two for us. So all of us have purpose. All of us can serve. It's important that we establish a communication, which we know how we can serve, and we know what our purpose is, so we can be more on point with accomplishing those goals.
Yes. So yeah, I'm thank you, Bob James. I'm glad you laid it out that way. So Sean, I guess, based on what you have to do and where you have to go, combine that with what you're hearing in the discussions, and let us know if you can be of assistance, based on what we're discussing and where you'll be.
I just want to add too. One of the main.
Hold on, Macy's. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
Right now, I went back to hauling hazardous material. So right now, I'm in Deer Park, Texas. That's a suburb of Houston. So I'm gonna be running out of Houston. Might be going anywhere.
Okay.
So if y'all need something, give me a call, or I can call you and let you know where I'm going, such and such place. Anybody in between there or whatever.
Understand? Yes, and that's the type of stuff that we would need to be in communication of, because Tania is in Dallas. I don't know how far that is from Houston, but depending on.
I left Dallas last night. I was in Dallas Friday. I was in Lancaster.
So yeah,
that was Friday.
You're doing the right things. We as an organization have to organize and find how to best utilize the things that you're doing right now.
Okay.
So are you planning on, you're not coming through Atlanta? You don't know if you're coming through Atlanta area anytime soon, are you? Do you?
No, sir, but I can notify you soon as I get word.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, like I said, the things that you've been doing, being, eyes on the road and letting us know what's going on, where you're driving, I think that's extremely beneficial right now.
Okay.
I just want to add one last thing.
Oh, as of right now.
1 second on Macy. Brother Sean, go ahead.
Telling me go ahead?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm supposed to be passing through Dallas, I guess sometime Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. I got to go load up, go back and go to DeRidder, Louisiana, and then deliver in Midland, Texas for Wednesday morning. So I'll be passing through Dallas in the wee hours of Tuesday morning. Late Tuesday night or Wednesday morning.
Okay. Well, we don't have anything as far as logistics right now, but I'm sure that will be extremely valuable once we start moving things around.
Okay.
Brother Macias, First Vice President.
Well, one of the main things when it comes to defense is that you're working on utilizing and growing your skills so that you can be prepared for when it's time to take action. Or I love the word the Colonel used, is to be activated. So when that time comes where your skill set is needed, it's all about being prepared to be activated within that time by having the skills and sharpening your skills within the meantime. And that would be one of the main focuses, to get prepared.
Very true. Yeah, that was one of the and that reminds me of when we were in convention, that was one of the things that they talked about was the combination of willingness and ability, so sometimes we're willing to do things, but we don't have the ability to do them. And then sometimes we have the ability to do them, but we don't have the will to do it. So, we need to make sure we have both of those things on the highest level of preparation, so that when the time comes, we're ready. Okay, so that was our Monday African Legion meeting. We didn't do, I don't think we did study group. I'll probably cancel study group to get ready for Marcus Garvey Day. So we held our 12th annual Marcus Garvey Day celebration in partnership with the Shrine of the Black Madonna. I think this is the third year that we've partnered with the Shrine of the Black Madonna. I don't have a lot of pictures or images, but I think we did a great job as a division, hosting the event, working with the Shrine, setting up vending. We did pretty good as a division. I got to go through the actual numbers, but I know as a vending at the table, we sold Marcus Garvey. No, we sold Course of African Philosophy books for $20. I know we sold at least one flag. I don't know what else we were selling. We had some Garvey Voice magazines, and we had some T-shirts as well. Actually, President Ross Marvin, those same T-shirts that you had a long time ago, trying to get, move those for like $5-10. But at the event, vending, we made about $200, which is okay. It's pretty good. We also recruited. We got 3 dues paying members. We connected with some non-dues paying members to get them caught up on their dues, which was good. And I got to give credit to everyone that came out and helped. And special thank you to Baba James. Every time, we needed anything, Baba James was always there, helping us set up, helping us clean up, maintaining the event. So I did want to acknowledge him and Baba James, just a great job at Garvey Day. As far as our expenses though, so our expenses always seem to outweigh our what we bring in. Let me see, we brought in probably about $200 in vending, $200 to $300 in vending, but our expenses was about $1,200. So about $500 for the DJ. I think $450 exactly. We weren't able to get Ross Irate, had a communication issue, but he came out, supported. We'll have him next year. Then we were trying to get 3 porta potties, but they accidentally gave us 4 porta potties. So we got charged for that. That was $465. So that's like $900 right there. And then the advertising, we've got 5,000 flyers, which cost us $200. So I think that puts us at $1,100, and then some additional fees puts us right around $1,200. But as a division, we're about negative $600 for that event. But that's partially due to the porta potty situation. But at the end of the day, it was a good event, well attended. And we did bring in some members, and we brought in some funds. And we, obviously we're going to plan to make it bigger and better next year. One of the challenges that we did have that some people became aware of, there was another event going on in Decatur, and it was called a Pan-African Festival, hosted by Juneteenth Atlanta. And I want to say Mawuli Davis Bozeman law firm were 2 of the main sponsors, but they had some additional sponsors like Agnes Scott College, some sponsors that we as a Race First organization probably wouldn't partner with. But at the end of the day, they had a big event in Decatur, same day. And once our event ended, some of our people went over there, and, you know, there were some people that we normally see at Garvey Day were in Decatur, but, you know, that's something we'll try to be better about next year, with our promotion and having a clear understanding of, you know, the importance of Garvey Day. So that's all I really got on Marcus Garvey Day. Anybody want to say anything or have any questions on Marcus Garvey Day 2022? Okay. With that, the next big event was our convention, and let me get I'll get the agenda for convention and we can walk through how that went. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So last week, starting on the 23rd, Tuesday, we were hosting, or Detroit Division 407 hosted our 64th International Convention. Yeah, 64th International Convention. I was a little bit late. I got there Tuesday at 3. So Brother Macias was there, first vice president. Brother Macias, did you want to start as far as a report for convention, what happened Tuesday morning?
Greetings, family. All right, so yes, so you have the agenda up right there. So as you can see, the convention was at 9 o'clock. Was the time we were supposed to be there. I got there at about 12:30 myself, and that's when we were just starting the 10:30 a.m. business session 1 that you all see in front of you. So we ended up starting that about 12:30. And we started with the opening ritual, pouring of libations, and went through the agenda. The business session, the first session consists of the reports of the HEC officers. And those reports were initially slated to be 7 different individuals: the Surgeon General, the Secretary General, followed by the fourth Assistant President General, the Second Assistant President General, then the High Chancellor, the First Assistant President General, and then finally the President General. I skipped the first one, which is the Minister of Labor and Industries, who started it all off, then followed by the Surgeon General. The Surgeon General was not there, the Fourth Assistant President General was not there, and the Second Assistant President General was not there as well, leaving with 4 individuals: the Minister of Labor and Industries, the Secretary General, the High Chancellor, and the President General. The Minister of Labor and Industries talked about each division having a business within their division, and working with him, having an appointed person within each division, working directly with him to help start businesses, and talked about the importance of us shopping with ourselves, but we have to create businesses for people to be able to shop with us. So with each division focusing on growing businesses, we'll be able to have businesses, more Black businesses for our people to shop at in any industry. Our Secretary General gave her report following, and she talked about everything that she does, working with every division, hosting the Zoom calls, being on every committee that pretty much the parent body is associated within in each division. She gave her general report. Prior to that, she gave the minutes to the last convention as well. Prior to the Minister of Labor and Industries, she started it off with the minutes from last convention. Then she gave her report here. The High Chancellor gave his report. He gave the budget for last year, what was spent on the international headquarters. He gave how much was in the parent bodies account. He also gave how much was in the African Redemption Fund. He also gave the numbers on how much was raised as well. And also how much then there was some funds donated at convention, and those weren't included in the numbers. I believe you're going to send those numbers out, President John, to members of the division.
No.
Okay.
Well, hold on. First, I open it to those that are on the call if there's any questions, but we would discuss it at the executive meeting in detail.
Gotcha. Any questions so far?
I got a phone call. Give me a second.
All right.
Yes, First Vice President Brett Omasis.
Greetings, President.
Greetings.
How are you?
Great. I want to just thank you and President John for representing our division at the convention,
Yes.
And the question that I had, did they say the total amount that was in the parent body account currently?
They did. I think because everybody on the call may not be members, I think we're going to send those out or discuss the numbers specifically on the executive call.
Okay.
This week.
Sound good. Give thanks.
Yes. I and if I won't put too much on President John, if you like, I can send those out if you'd like me to do it. If you want to see, so we can get them to you guys prior to the executive meeting, and you just come with your questions. So I'll President John when he comes back on the call, and maybe that could be the route we'll take.
That sounds, Brother Mason, First Vice President. If you could do that, that would be excellent.
Yep, I'll do that.
Specifically to the executive officers.
Yes.
Okay.
And the President General also gave his report. It was a brief report, more like a welcome to convention for everyone. And he gave a grand speech at the mass meeting that we had, and that was the first day. As you can see, we had a couple things on the schedule. Because we met late, we ended up getting out of there late. That second business session got canceled, and we had to go straight to the mass meeting after our lunch/dinner. Because those reports did take a sensitive amount of time. Of course, it is our parent body reports, but all right. That was the first day. Then we went to the mass meeting, and I think President John, you want to talk about that?
Yes, thank you. So what First Vice President is referring to, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. mass meeting keynote speaker was President General Michael R. Duncan. For me, I wasn't able to stay for the entire convention, but President General's speech was the highlight, second being the panel discussion. But in regards to President General's speech, this was on the 23rd. He started, I think, at 7:30 p.m. based on my notes. The title of his speech was based around Marcus Garvey being the greatest man to ever walk on the face of the earth. And our President General will tell you he believes the second greatest man is Carlos Cooks. And that's one of the individuals that their division is named after. But with his explanation of why he thought Garvey was the greatest man on earth, some of the things he touched on was some of the people that Garvey have influenced. He talked about Ho Chi Minh, a leader in Vietnam. We talked about Kwame Nkrumah, brother from Ghana, how he read philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey and how that influenced him. The Black Star being on the Ghana flag and the source of that, the inspiration for that. Talk about Louis Farrakhan and his upbringing and his respect for Garvey. He talked about Malcolm X. Let me see. Every time I see islands, yeah, he talked about Malcolm X and his upbringing. Martin Luther King as well. So he laid a foundation of individuals that he influenced. Then he talked about. I got a little bit of more of an understanding of Marcus Garvey's vision in Liberia. So according to President General, when Garvey was planning to have a headquarters in Liberia, in addition to having that headquarters, there were going to be 4 outposts or 4 strongholds. And those strongholds were going to be bordering neighboring countries. So one was going to be bordering Guinea, one was going to be bordering Ghana. He mentioned the Ivory Coast, and then 2 of them were going to be stationed at Sierra Leone. But he was talking about Garvey's vision to remove colonialism from the continent, and doing that through the base in Liberia. But we all know, Garvey's vision of a sovereign Africa, united Africa. But there were more. Garvey was serious about it, basically, and there's plans in the history books to show, how serious he was and how he wanted to do it. Next, he talked about the establishment of the government and the 5 requirements to establish government. Plebiscite, which Marcus Garvey and UNIA did August 1st, 1920. A public declaration that the people would like to govern themselves. Number 2 is the Declaration of Rights of Negro Peoples of the World, was issued on August 13th, 1920, but gives the reasons, 12 complaints, as well as 54 declarations for how we disagree with how we were being treated globally, and our demands for how we would, expect to be treated in the future by other races and by ourselves. Number 3 is a flag. And I've also learned from Dr. Tony Martin, we have to also remember the importance of the anthem. So the flag and the anthem, I'm taught the flag was given to us August 15th, 1920. And Dr. Tony Martin teaches us that we also have an anthem to go with that flag, but that satisfies the 3rd requirement. 4th requirement being a constitution. We should all be aware of the Constitution. We just looked at it briefly. But UNIA has had a constitution for over 100 years. And we just, at this convention, we got our first copy of the 2021 amended Constitution, was just printed out this year. And we've got 1 copy for the division, but we'll get more of the hard copies of the latest Constitution. And 5th requirement is recognition from other governments or from other nations. According to the President General, and I got to verify this in race first, but there were up to 44 countries that recognize the UNIA as a nation. We all should be aware of our passports that the UNIA had, and a passport is a form of recognition of, I'm not going to say sovereignty, but of a nation. And the fact that those passports were able to be used kind of also goes to support that argument. Let me see what else I got in my notes. Who else created government? So Marcus Garvey was able to create a government without borders. And Marcus Garvey was also able to create a government with many languages. So, who else was able to create a government without borders? And you can't name it. President Ross Marvin has taught me that the Universal Negro Improvement Association is the second global government. The first one was the Roman Catholic Church, or the Roman Catholic Empire. But that's the only other. And, in regards to a Black man doing it, Garvey's the only one. Again, Garvey's plan to remove colonialism from Africa. So that goes into what I stated earlier about Liberia and the strongholds. If you want to have a government, this is a message to the audience. If we want to have a government, we must pay our taxes. So just a call for Africans to contribute to their government. There's a lot of things that we say and a lot of things we say we want or don't want, criticisms that we give. But we also have to acknowledge that this is at this stage of the UNIA, this is a voluntary government. No one is forced to pay their taxes to the UNIA government. If you don't pay your taxes to the UNIA government, there's no official consequences as of right now. But when you compare that to United States government, we all pay our taxes to the United States government, most of us at least. And if we don't, there's consequences and there's legal issues. So most people on this call, most of our friends and family that look like us, melanated, we contribute to this system, that we want to fight against. But when it comes to creating our own government to basically fight against, this system that we disagree with, we don't pay taxes there. So we as individuals, we as Garveyites, we should be paying taxes to our government. It's a fundamental foundational issue. And if we're not paying taxes, President General had a great statement or slogan that I told him I'm stealing, and he gave us full right to do it. But he said basically in the UNIA, you have two types of people. And in the Constitution, it identifies it as active and inactive. So all members of our race are members of the UNIA based on their blood, but those that pay dues are the active members. But we're in a different society and a different time now, to where people go beyond not paying their dues to the UNIA, and they use the UNIA to benefit themselves. So what President General was saying was, he was asking the audience, are we Garveyites or are we parasites? And if we're not, if we're coming to these types of meetings, Garvey information, UNIA information, red, black, and green, self-reliance, Africa for the Africans, those at home and abroad. If we're not taking this information and using it to build the UNIA, but instead we're taking this information, to benefit ourselves, that's a parasite. That's not a Garveyite. A Garveyite is one that helps to build the UNIA. So when you look at some of these individuals, a couple people that, let me see, I don't want to say nobody's name, but we can think of it, people that use the red, black, and green, use the name of Garvey, vendors, for example, people that sell t-shirts that has Garvey face or the UNIA or red, black, and green, but they don't contribute to the true creators of the red, black, and green. That is a parasite. That's not a Garveyite. So we have to be clear on what we are, as well as the type of people that we have in our community. Moving forward, President General talked about August 17th, Marcus Garvey's birthday, and how that should be an African holiday. We should not be working on these days. This should be a holiday. It should be a recognized holiday within our culture. So amongst us as a people, we have to take a stand, and we have to claim our own holidays and not go to the government, to have them recognize it as a holiday. This is our holiday amongst us. In addition to that, and well, I don't know if the President General said it, but I wrote it down. August 31st as well should be a holiday that we recognize collectively, and we take time just like we do for Christmas or any of the government holidays. He talked about Garvey's motivation, where's the black man's king in his kingdom, and then he transitioned that to modern time. And he said, you know, where's the black man's bank? Where's the black man's supermarket? Where's the black man's vehicle manufacturer? Where's the black man's hospitals, clinics? Where's, you know, everybody's got a cell phone, but who has a cell phone produced by black people? So the same questions that Garvey was asking over 100 years ago, they still apply today, and we still haven't, you know, completely answered those questions. We are in the process of creating our kings and kingdoms, presidents, men and women of high affairs, but we have to, you know, it's 2022, you know, so it don't take long. I mean, it takes a while to make a kingdom, but it don't take long for individuals to stand up and say, hey, I want to be a king. You know, now we're in a time of material results. So, you know, now we need to be asking, where's our banks? Where's our supermarkets? Where's our clinics and things like that? And we as Garveyites, we take a full responsibility to you know, do everything that we can to provide an answer to those questions. And then he had a couple quotes that I wrote. Are we going to build an empire that on which the sun will never set? And I think that's a Garvey thing as well. Indian stories, West Indian, Korean store, the money. Oh, and then he talked about the stores in our community. You know, they're owned by Indians, they're owned by West Indians, owned by Koreans. They open up at 9 a.m. The money goes into the stores at 9 a.m. and at 5 p.m. that money leaves the community. It never circulates. So we need to stop, you know, putting our, you know, allowing these individuals to take money out of our communities by supporting them. I think that's all. Buy Black Tuesday. Chances never satisfies the hopes of a suffering people. That's a Marcus Garvey quote. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but us can free our mind. Bob Marley lyric. 3 things to do. There's 3 things that the President General said, in his opinion, that we need to do to be free. One is stop worshiping the way the slave master taught us to worship. So, you know, our God should look like us, and we should have our own culture of worship. Number 2, stop eating their foods. He had a good presentation on, you know, foods that are better for us as African people versus foods that we are given, you know, when we came to these lands, and we need to get back to our own diet. And then number 3 was to stop wearing their clothes. So we should be producing our own clothes, you know, to come out of their system and come out of their, and to be less dependent on them. Make it easy for our elders. I don't know why I wrote that. Second greatest was Honorable Carlos Cooks. So we talked briefly about Carlos Cooks and the 3 brigades in regards to convincing people, or, you know, motivating people to support their own. The first brigade would, you know, ask you nicely, you know, please buy from Black people and please do not buy from other races. Second brigade was, you know, buy or else. And so it was basically a warning, like, you know, buy from Black people or else, stop buying from other races or else. And then the third brigade, they called the broken leg brigade. So by the time the third brigade came around, there were consequences. But President General was talking about, you know, how, I mean, obviously, you know, he wasn't promoting that this is something that we do now, but just the difference in the times, difference in the level of seriousness, you know, of our people from then to now, and the things that we were willing to do to promote, you know, us to buy Black. Then he said, our ancestors only die when we stop talking about them. And that's how he ended it. So just a promotion for us to, you know, keep Garvey and Garveyism alive. Last thing I got is let's unite on the things we can't change. And that's when we were talking about, you know, race first. You know, that's something that we can't change no matter how hard we try. We're still going to be Black people, African people, melanated people. So let's unite on that. And that was the keynote speech from our President General at convention. Any questions or comments? No questions, comments.
One thing I want to say, when President General starts to recite the letter from the prison, he always sounds just like Garvey. If y'all never heard him go read that letter, it's definitely energy motivate thing.
Yes. Yeah, our President General is a great speaker. I got to give him credit where credit is due, and he's got the Garvey speech down pat. And it's interesting because that speech is when Garvey was here in Atlanta. So everywhere President General goes, he kind of gives this speech, and if he always mentions, if I was to die in Atlanta, and going to hell a million times. But it's a very famous Garvey speech, and President General does an excellent job of relaying that speech and invoking the energy of Garvey. Okay, well, if there aren't any questions on the keynote speech, I guess we can go to Wednesday, August 24th. Brother Mason, did you want to take it back or?
Okay, yeah, so on Wednesday, of course, the business session 2 was moved to this day. So we pushed back a little bit. And that business session 2 is where the division gives their reports on international officers. But we still started the day off at the Goddess Circle. We're supposed to meet there about 8:30. We end up getting there late and leaving late. It was a Goddess Circle and a God Circle. It was on a aisle, kind of like a small beach near the location. So we got there, we left kind of late. So we got there, initially started off as a circle with everybody together. Then we separated into our individual circles, and then we came back together at the end. During the God circle, because neither one of us was in the Goddess circle, so we don't really have a report for that. But in the God circle, the Minister of Labor and Industries, Brother Clyde Banks, was the facilitator of the circle. So he starts it off, and what he starts to talk about? Business. So in the God circle, that's pretty much the circle was focused on people throwing out ideas from when I was there. I'm not sure, President John, you want to add anything? And but I definitely could tell where the female circle seems to be more of a Hitler situation, while ours was focused on ideas and stuff. Yeah. And it was funny to me just seeing the difference in how men and women operate.
I didn't really get a lot. I wasn't, trying to interrupt the sisters. I really don't know what they had going on. From the men's circle, one thing that I remember was the comment that I put forth in regards to development of the brothers. So what I told the brothers was, in my experience, my few years in the UNIA, and with the singular focus of membership, we've had somewhat of a revolving door, to where we bring 10 people in, they stay for 3 to 6 months, and then they head out and keep it going. So over years, that's been a similar process with people coming and people going. And I'm not sure if the other divisions have the same issues, but I just express what I see. And I was asking the brothers for their thoughts on, or giving my opinion, that I feel that when people come into something like this, they're looking for some type of development. When they come in, they're at a certain state, but they would like to raise themselves to a different state. So one thing that we should be focusing on is development and education, and training. So as we get people in, there should be a process of improvement so that, over a certain amount of time, there's a difference between, when that person came in, who that person was when they first came in, or their level of knowledge when they first came in, and their level of knowledge, 6 to 18 months later. There's no reason that, one of the things that we've stressed at 421 is things as simple as, forgive me for calling it simple, but the pledge to the red, black, and green flag. There's no reason that we should be, promoting ourselves as members of the UNIA for over 2 years, 2-3 years, and we can't recite the pledge to the red, black, and green flag. There's no reason we should be promoting, that we've been in this organization for over a year and we don't know the 54 rights, the 54 declarations of rights of the Negro peoples of the world. We don't know the 12 complaints. We don't know the 5 requirements to establish a government. So that was one of the things that I touched on. And that is kind of what I see, when people look at, it's exactly what I'm saying. When we go out into the community, we are representatives of the organization, so when I go out, and I say, yeah, I've been in the UNIA since 2018, and people ask me about Garvey or ask me about, his wives. If I don't know that, or if I'm not giving accurate information, that makes our organization look bad. And that makes individuals not want to be a part of the organization. So there has to be a level of development. We've talked about it in the past, rites of passage. As of right now, we are very, loose, so to speak. We have things in place, but when it comes to enforcing the requirements, we haven't been strict with that. So that was what I touched on. And, that's what I'm bringing back to 421 is a emphasis on development, so I don't know what y'all think about that, but that was my input on the God circle.
President John, I just wanted to, with just bringing it back around a little bit, tying it all together, I'm pretty excited when I hear about the Boy Scouts. And I know that as we flesh out that program, that it becomes a development program for, the next generation at least. Yes. The greatest form of defense is developing ourselves to be able to defend ourselves in any arena that is created, from the courtrooms to the business offices to the streets. And developing ourselves is that first step to being able to do that. But also, I'm thinking about all the different courses for that Raymond Duguay teaches that you've been teaching that Division 401 has, and how we've been having conversations about organizing ourselves. And Garvey had Garvey University.
Yes, sir.
I see it all coming into fruition. And so we just got to continue to keep doing the work and keep that focus. Yes, of being a development focused after we get these people, after we get new members. Yes, and us creating that process is going to create that, like you said, reduce that revolving door activity.
Yeah, and yeah, we have to remember that education and training is still a part of Garveyism. Like sometimes Garveyism is a very complex, dynamic subject matter. So we can't just take one aspect of Garveyism, and just focus on that and say, we're doing the work of Garvey. To First Vice President's point, Chicago Division 401 has a monthly training program. The parent body introduced a national orientation program last year. Us at Division 421, we've had study groups for years. We've gone through course of African philosophy a couple times, to my knowledge, under President Ross Marvin. And then we did it again. We had a 6 months course last year. So a lot of the not a lot, but some of these things are already out there. But we have to be tapping into this information. That's basically the point. Because the question that I would ask is, if we're not getting Garveyism from the divisions and from the parent body, where are we getting it from? Because I'm at these meetings and I see the attendance. So that would be my question to a professing Garveyite is where they get their information from and what type of groups, because Garvey taught in groups. He didn't teach, in an individual sense. So that's all I was gonna say. I know I'm beating up on that, but I don't know if you can understress the importance of education and training. Passing back to you, Brother Macias, Detroit bus tour.
Yep. So after we completed the Guidance and Guided Circle, we the bus pulled back up, and prior to getting on the bus, we came back together for one last circle, and just had a moment of silence for an individual who 19 years old who had just got killed. So we had that brief moment of silence, and then we got back on the bus in Detroit from one of the members, close to one of the members.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, we toured the city. The highlight of the tour for me was seeing Hitsville, Motown. We went to the house, and that was one of the highlights for the tour for myself. Yeah, and so we got back and we jumped into session 2.
Right.
Yep. So jumping into session 2, and which was the division report. So each division report on what they were doing. They did a great job of report on our division. Did you want to speak about any of that, President John?
Sure. Let me see if I got anything written down. That was on the 24th. 24. Well, I'm not going to go into everybody else's report, but for us, Division 421, we focused on our activities since HEC. So after HEC coming back, one of the things that we were focused on was propaganda. I let the leadership know that we acquired the brochure that Philadelphia was using and the parent body uses. We adapted that to Atlanta, printed out 1,000 copies of that and was using that as our primary propaganda coming out of HEC. Let me see, January, March, April, May. I wasn't able to attend Malcolm X Day, but I know we had some members attend Malcolm X Day, support that event. At the end of May, we had African Liberation Day with the Pan-African organizations here in Atlanta, All African People's Revolutionary Party, Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization, World African Diaspora Union, Friends of Congo, UNIA, as well as some other groups hosted African Liberation Day, continuing to work together. Let me see, that was January, March, April, May. June was Juneteenth. We officially paid dues to be at Juneteenth, to have a table at Juneteenth and promote. We recruited one new member during Juneteenth. July, I think early in July, we had a meeting following up from African Liberation Day. So trying to get this Pan-African coalition back up and running and grow it. So it was all the groups that I said for African Liberation Day. And then we added Moorish Science Temple, Nation of Islam, Community Movement Builders. Those were 3. I don't know if there was another one, but I had another meeting to continue that unity. We were discussing, a shared calendar to where everyone can put all of their events on one calendar, and each of the different organizations, we can support each other throughout the year. Because one thing that we saw during African Liberation Day, or we were reminded of during African Liberation Day, is we only see each other a few times throughout the year. So we'll see them at African Liberation Day. We'll see them at Garvey Day. We may see them, at a couple other events throughout the year. But with as many organizations that we have that claim to be race first, claim to be, for the liberation of our people, there should be a lot more support for what's going on. So what we think is going on is it's like if all Black people lived in a mansion, and let's just break it down to Atlanta specifically. If the organizations, the Black organizations in Atlanta lived in a mansion, what we feel like is everyone is staying in their own room, and no one is coming out, to the dinner table, to the living room, to discuss things as a collective. So, what Malcolm X grassroots movement is doing is what Malcolm X grassroots movement is doing. What the UNIA is doing is what the UNIA is doing. And it should, in the vision, it should be such that we promote things to each other, and we all support each other. So we're trying to work on the communication for that, and having regular meetings. We'll have another meeting in September 10th. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. So I'll have a follow-up from that at that time. January, March, April, May, June, July. That was early July. Somewhere another time in July, we had our orientation. This was our first in-person orientation since 2019. I think we had at least 5 people, maybe 10, 10 or so people were able to attend. This was at Brother Kenwardo's shop in Forest Park. But at that event, just a breakdown of what's expected of new members. And the expectations of all members in general. So we kind of broke that down and laid that out plain. We recruited 3 members on that day as well. And then later in July, and also early in July, we had the passing of our former lady president, Queen Sassy. So later in July, we had the memorial for Queen Sassy. And I think we had 4 officers attend that event. So, we pay our respects to those that are doing the work. That's what it's about. That's July. And then August, executive meeting, first week of August, second weekend of August, we had our second annual Pan-African Caravan organized by Brother Kenwardo. He did a great job, great event. That was on August 13th. So some people consider that Flag Day, but that's the date that the Declaration of Rights of Negro Peoples of the World was given. But just another opportunity for us as a community and us as a government to promote the red, black, and green in a legitimate way. If anybody's going to be, promoting, and it's not the red, black, and green flag. This is the UNIA flag. So we have to remind the community that this is the UNIA flag brought to us by Marcus Garvey and the Universal Negro Improvement Association during the month of August in 1920. So Pan-African Caravan is a great way for us to continue that education. And then August 20th, obviously, that was Marcus Garvey Day. I just recapped that, and I let the leadership know that we recruited another 3 members on Marcus Garvey Day. So since HEC, we've recruited 7 members, as well as getting the other members' dues paid. And I also let the parent body know. Let me see. I think I have some of this stuff written down. Some of our future plans. So September, we will restart our training for officers, 6 months course of African philosophy. It'll go through the end of September to February, and that'll be open to all. I'm thinking about opening up to everybody in the UNIA, but last year we did all officers. So even officers in the other divisions were part of that course, but that'll be starting up again at the end of September. I spoke with Mama Amina when I was out there on the morning before I gave the report. And Mama Amina has been very adamant about trying to get our sisters together, get the women together. And I need to help her do that. So I asked her to give me a date in September where, you know, she'd be comfortable meeting with the women, and we would start to promote that. But that's one of the deficiencies that we have at 421 compared to the other divisions. The other divisions have sisters, you know, and a lot of sisters, even elder sisters, that help support with the work. And for some reason at Division 421, we struggle with that. So I let them know, you know, I'll be working with our lady president to try to get our sisters involved in our community. And preparation for HEC 2023. So High Executive Council 2023 will be in Atlanta next year. And we've got a lot of work to do to prepare for that. So that was our report. I was told, you know, we did a good report. We had a good report. So that is, you know, that's what we discussed and that's what we reported to the parent body. Any questions on Division 421's 6-month report? Anything that I left out? Okay.
Just want to thank you, President John, for that report. That means 421 is live and kicking and going forward in the works of Honorable Mosiah Garvey. So thank you for that report and thanks for all the work that's been happening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, 421 is alive and well, but we, you know, as always, we gotta make sure our executive office is strong and active. I mean, I think your phone's off mute. And we have to continue to get the rest of the membership activated. Did you have a comment? You want to say something?
No, it's all good. Everything you've said.
Okay. Have you had a chance to check out the calendar yet?
No.
Okay. Well, let me know. Like I said, I know you've mentioned that several times in the past. I was, you know, had some distractions, but I want to make that a focus for the division, you know, as quickly as we can.
Yes, sir.
So that's all I have for reports. I guess the next thing, Brother Macius, do you remember what was after that?
So we did all the division reports, got to report on that day. Then we went to some 7 to 9 event, which is
right.
the panel discussion. So at the panel discussion, President Marua from Division 421 was the host, and the panel was composed of different organizations from the Detroit community, along with a few members from the UNIA, President John, President Everett of Baltimore 106, one of the second vice president of the Detroit division, and that was it from the UNIA. We had one member from the Army who was related to one of the members from Detroit, a young man, and then the rest of the individuals was various different organizations that were there. It started off with Marua asking each individual to introduce themselves and the organization that they were from, and then what they actually did. Didn't really get to the notes of about each person. The theme of the conversation was focused on the nation. And did you want to talk about the panel discussion?
Briefly, one thing that I want people to be aware of is I don't think that panel discussion was very well organized or planned. Initially, when they were putting it together and they, they had it laid out, there were not any representatives of the UNIA on the panel, no officers, at least no one that was a part of the convention was on the panel. So that was the first question that we asked when I saw the panel being put together was, is there anyone representing, the UNIA? So I just thought that was a lapse in their judgment, to have a panel speak to the UNIA on nation and not have a true Garveyite on that panel. So there was a couple brothers and sisters. I'm just trying to, one of them was from Malcolm X grassroots movement, a regional director, a brother named Bomani. There was one brother that said he was a member of the UNIA. He was there. He was on the panel. Friends of Detroit City Airport, a supporter. They were there. Black Defense Force. There were two individuals from Black Defense Force. One sister said that she was representing the ancestors. So we were looking for individuals to represent organization and individuals that had a position of leadership in organization. I'm of the opinion at this point, they say it's a opinions are like buttholes. We all got them. But if someone's not a member of an organization or officer in an organization, I don't really, their opinion carries less weight, is what I would say. That's my opinion. It was an officer. I don't know where, he was a military guy. He was there. He was a young brother. He was pretty cool. Organization Black Man Build. And then the second vice president from Detroit, Brother Everett, president of Baltimore, and myself, president of Atlanta. We were talking about race, difference between race, ethnicity, nationality, focus, and marketing, and how marketing has a way of capturing the focus of our youth and certain individuals to basically to perpetuate white supremacy. Not selling out for a buck. Everyone has a role to play. Don't be sellouts. So, and Brother Marula was of the opinion, he had a good thing. He said, at this point, you got one of three different type of Black people. When it comes to those that are, you got one of three different type of Black people. One is individuals that don't know. They don't know no better. So they, you can't expect them to do no better. And out of those that do know, one, they're either scared to do what they need to do, or they're lazy. So I guess this comes down to those that are not involved, because then on the other side, you have those that know and those that still do what they need to do. But we don't want to be individuals that are classified as scared. We are not, and we can't be individuals that are classified as don't know. At this point, everybody on this call knows what's going on. So ignorance is no excuse, and laziness should not be a title that can be applied to us either. So just a reminder, we should be active. Our leaders are watching us. Our leaders are taking note, and we just have to be active. So it was a great panel discussion. Everyone enjoyed themselves. We feel like people learned something, and it was a good representation of Garveyism on a panel like that. So that's all I want to say. Thank you, Brother Omasius.
All right. Yep. It was a great panel discussion. I was definitely surprised as well that at least the President General I thought should have been on the panel, but it was definitely it was I think the individual in the Army was the son of the young lady from Detroit who was hosting it. That's in the division. So it definitely felt like it was thrown together, but the young man talking about the marketing. It happened to be the highlight of it and of the panel. So we pushed business session 3 to Thursday, and when we arrived, that's what we started with. The second assistant president general and the fourth assistant president general arrived on Thursday, so they actually went first. Did we start on time that day, President John? I can't remember about.
I can't remember, but you know, I remember second PG and fourth PG, briefly speaking.
Yes. So second assistant president general is from Nigeria, brother Oji, who also lives in New York. President general spoke about their relationship and him knowing him for about 30 years.
Yeah.
And the fourth assistant president general is also from IET. And President Raymond, he's been knowing him for since they were little as well. So President General spoke about us bringing our friends into the IA, and he talked about how, you know, President Raymond had to up him when he brought his friends. Like, I'm gonna bring my friend too, but he's definitely sent that charge to us to bring our friends as well as bring our family into the UNIA. And if we truly love it, then we would talk about it to our friends and our families, and hopefully they'll be able to see that love that we have, and at least come to a meeting to find out, you know, what it's all about. So that's a definite charge that's out there. And of course, he made a joke about everybody up here at Body Beard and Maru was like, we have to fix that. But his friends are there right beside him, at least showing the willingness to do the work. The second PG talked about what he's directly focused on right now, and that is the website and the technology side of the work. And that's what he's been focused on. He ended up giving a report later about the website, but he talked about it briefly, the status of it right now on that first day that he was there. He spoke about different offers that he had received for bringing the website together, and different amounts that he was quoted by those companies. And the speaker of the convention, which is the president from 330, she asked a question, pretty much summed it up that if anybody within who was there in the UNIA knew anybody that build websites, to get with him on the side, and but basically moved the agenda to the fourth assistant president general, which briefly spoke about what he did and who he was, and his focus is the African Legion and Black Cross nurses. And President John told you about them, the meeting they had prior to the convention. Yeah. He briefly talked about that meeting as well, and talked about how he was able to gain a lot of information about what's already been put in place from Marcus Garvey. He talked about him being in the Nation of Islam structure and his past army structure, trying to bring those ideas on board. But he talked about how on that call that he had with President John and Bobby James and the rest of the individuals involved in the project, that he learned of the structure being already in place, and how we just have to activate now was the word that he said. And also what Bobby James used earlier. So activation of what we already have was the overall theme that he talked about, and the works that will be going forward to continuously bring that in order and activate it. And that was the fourth assistant president general report. And here's the website that the second assistant president general is working on. And then we went back to the agenda from the business session 2.
Yeah, before we go too far though, I'm sharing the UNIA website. You know, I'm not a web designer, or not, you know, I can do a little bit, but second assistant president general is of the opinion, and you know, I respect them, but we need to, they're looking at somewhere around $30,000, probably more, to build a website. But yeah, so they don't really like the website we have now, which is UNIA UNIA-ACL So what I'm asking our members to do is go through it and let us know how we can improve it. I always know we can do better and bigger and all that stuff, but for me personally, I didn't see a big issue with the website that we have. It seems to be functional. If we want to increase capabilities, I can see that. One of the things that Second PG was talking about was, I think, e-commerce, but selling things through the site, and that's fine and dandy, but as of right now, I don't know what products the UNIA-ACL has this will, but we'll get to that because it'll probably be like private ownership stuff being sold on the site, but I don't know. At the end of the day, we need information and recommendations on how the site can be improved and what we don't like about it, so we can spend this money to make it better.
Yep, that definitely was the major call to get different ideas from the members on what they thought could be improved. He sent that call out, and like President John said, I just want to echo it. If you go through it and just jot those notes down, and what you believe that it should be. One thing he said was, if a person looks at it and doesn't see anything wrong with it, then he felt like they not a vendor of quality, he believes. But his main focus was the e-commerce platform that he wanted to have, and he talked about the how clean that has to be and how any errors could turn different customers away. So that being, he was talking about one of the reasons that he was looking for a vendor because of the stringent tactics that it takes to build a e-commerce platform. He said someone said they'll do it as a favor, but as a favor, he wants to be professional. So if you're capable of doing that professional work, but the first step is to just go through it and see what things could be added from your perspective or taken away or changed.
Yes. So yeah, that was the website, and you touched on African Legion. So that's the report from the 2nd and 4th Assistant President Generals. Go back. Oh no, no.
Anybody have any questions about any of those before?
Any questions on the website or African Legions? Okay, I'm trying to get the schedule back up. Okay.
If no question, I do want to add too, the 4th Assistant President General is over the Black Cross nurses, but he's working with the Black Cross coordinator in New York, and she is kind of the head of that Black Cross nurses and taking the lead, but he's over it, and she's kind of just runs it though.
Yeah.
So he's not as hands-on with the Black Cross nurses as he is the African Legion.
Let me just talk about we did the Charles Wright Museum tour. It's straightforward. It was a museum tour of African American history, going from Africa, and the first the woman to birth humanity and how she came from Africa, and then it goes into our sojourn here in America and talks a little bit about slavery and things. But it was a pretty good museum. At the end of it, they have a King Tut exhibit. It's all replica stuff, but it was informational. One of the big takeaways that I'll mention here, I thought was pretty powerful. As the President General was walking through, he was walking through with his son. I don't know how old his son is, probably 10 years old, but young man. But when we got down to the cargo ship portion, he was almost traumatized. Like he couldn't look at it, he couldn't hear it. He had to cover his ears and cover his eyes. But and this is all like replica stuff, remake stuff, mannequins. So it's not real people, but they were tightly packed on a replica slave ship, and they had noises that you would hear in that type of situation. So the power of that imagery and how the President General's son couldn't even look at it or hear it, I thought it was very powerful for me. Just motivation that we still got a lot of work to do, and yeah, we got a lot to teach. Did you have anything on the tour, on the museum?
No Garvey, nowhere to be found.
He was on the ground in the beginning, right?
I didn't see him. You saw him there?
Yeah, they had his name. I
Circle.
had to find it. They had his name, but yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So they had a circle of names in the foyer, and they say his name was there. I didn't see it, but other than that, there's no Garvey anywhere to be found.
Was there any type of leaders? I don't even remember that. I just remember we went through slavery, then they let us free, and everything was good.
They showed leaders in the movie, as they went through the progression of us as a people, trying to show the people who did great things, like in sports. They showed athletes, Joe Louis. They showed Barack, Martin Luther King.
Right.
They showed different images of leaders in a video that they showed, where they showed the progression of us through time.
And the area that you walked through towards the end, because you saw the that uniform that looked like Black Cross nurses.
Nope, I didn't see it.
Okay. Well, it had BCN, but the Shrine of the Black Madonna is known as the Black Christian Nationalist. So it was a white suit with a red, black, and green BCN emblem, but it was Shrine of the Black Madonna. It threw everybody off. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is Black Cross," and I was like, "Nah." If you look behind it, it had the Black Cross nurses. Jeramogi, I believe that's the brother that started that, but no, that was not us. No Garvey though. They had a few leaders, but no Garvey.
With that being said, I just want to go back to one of the main reminders that President General said at this convention: remind people that is the UNIA flag. When they say it's a red, black, and green flag, said immediately correct them. No, that's the UNIA flag, and let us take ownership of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wholeheartedly agree with that. So yeah, I don't want none of us in Division 421. It's not red, black, and green. It's UNIA. I mean, it's a UNIA flag. So, and that's how we should identify it. Okay. That was the last thing. I feel like that was the last thing on that day. And then we came. Did we do that on Thursday? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was Thursday. Did we finish session 3 on Thursday? I think we had the report from King OG. He did the UNIA and how it's registered, and followed Minister of Department of Labor and Industries. They had a brief discussion on how we are currently registered, and President General spoke about a UNI Inc., which was a for-profit, was a separate organization. He talked about the African Communities League being the for-profit wing, and the UNIA-ACL being unincorporated altogether.
Yeah, you can't have if we call ourselves a government, how we incorporated under another government. I think that was the best way he explained it. So, true sovereignty, do for self, is unincorporated. You can't go to somebody else and ask for permission to do for self. That doesn't work. So the UNIA-ACL global government is unincorporated, but there are incorporated businesses and functions within the UNIA and some divisions even, because I think Brother OG is out of LA, and they were talking about, I don't know if their whole division is incorporated, but they do utilize some of those legal statuses. And it's something, I mean, I thought we would have a national perspective on it and a parent body perspective, but it was more of a, this is what we do, this is what we do. And it's up to each division to figure out what they want to do. So if we want to have something incorporated, we do have that option, but the UNIA-ACL overall is not and has no plans to be incorporated.
So the addition to the Constitution was pushed to Friday. Business session 4 was pushed to Friday as well. And we were supposed to be there Friday. We left the museum saying we were going to be there at 8:30 so we can get started early.
Yeah.
President John had to leave,
Yeah.
and we ended up arriving about 9:15 and got started about 10:30 with the business session. So we started off with the Constitution. Secretary General spoke about the work that was done on the Constitution. And we do have this time a table of contents in it, and she worked very hard on that. And also we have a large copy printed and small copies printed. Each active member gets one, and or you're able to get the large copies or the small one, is what she was saying.
Yeah, when they were planning this after HEC, they asked us how many we needed. I told them, let me see, I think I said 35. It was either 20 small and 15 big, or 25 small and 10 big. I don't know. But they were only able to provide one large per division as of right now. So we still owe members a hard copy of the updated Constitution. So don't let us forget about that, and please hold us to that. But
Yeah,
I gotta get them from the parent body.
The small ones weren't printed yet, President John.
Okay.
They didn't have those at all.
Okay. But they're supposed to also have a digital copy where we can print them ourselves. I requested that. So. But yeah, we still owe membership hard copies of the updated Constitution.
So that was it for that day. The Universal African Legions talked about what they were doing. I'm sorry, the Black Cross nurses. They talked about how they put together a first aid kit for the convention that was in the session with us, and they brought up how all those should be our products because they had like Lysol and hand wipes and stuff from different products. And they discussed about that a little bit, and different works that they were doing throughout the community. And we did not have any juveniles and other auxiliaries that went. And we on the session 3, there was supposed to be a economic conversation from the economic development portion. That was moved down to Friday. That was President General and the Minister of Labor and Defense, President Clyde. President Clyde spoke about, he went again to speak about every division having a business, and President General spoke about every division having a FACROC and a Liberty Forum within their division. And President Clyde spoke about the support that the parent body is committed to give to each division. And the question was asked what type of businesses, and he said willing to support whatever the divisions come up with as far as the businesses that are there. sorry, reading through my notes. Oh, and they spoke about cooperative economics being the focus of our economic development, us working together. They spoke about creating a process for people to donate property to the UNIA, and if there was currently anything in place, and they said that it wasn't, because they spoke about the 2 properties that was given to them in Belize, but it was just given over back in the day. But they don't have a process in place. They talk about getting the process in place for them to receive donations for property, and also how property given would be registered to the UNIA when they are donated. And they spoke about that would be also something that had to be discussed as well, and how to come up with that process to be able to register properties that are given. Lady President from Philadelphia mentioned trust accounts, and President General said that he's willing to hear about those, but definitely something that we need to talk about and flesh out how things will be registered when they're given. And they spoke about the effort. Oh, they spoke about the effort in the housing market, about how they run Black people out of different communities by raising the property taxes, and the history of what happened in Detroit, and how they did that there. And our President General was adamant about focusing on putting another Thacker Rock there and partnering with Detroit to purchase lots, because in Detroit, if you own a home and there's a lot open beside you, you can buy it for $100. And there was some talk about purchasing land for the UNIA, that some of those vacant lots, and partnering with the homeowner to turn those lots into different farms to grow food on, to basically furnish the Thacker Rock, the grocery store that's there. But he also spoke about finding space specifically to buy for Liberty Farms to be placed in these different cities. But then that conversation expanded to every city finding the land, and the parent body will be willing to purchase it. But of course, the structure of how that in place is not in place yet. So that's something that we have to talk about whenever we get prepared to cross that bridge. And that was economic development focus on Friday.
Before we proceed, any questions on what has been discussed thus far? We're almost at the end of the agenda. No questions?
No.
Okay, go ahead. First Vice President, you can proceed.
Okay, so we had President Everett Winchester to present on recruitment. And he had a pretty much a great presentation that was put together, PowerPoint presentation that was put together by one of the younger members within his organization. And I helped him go through the slides with the PowerPoint. And the PowerPoint it was talking about how to target colleges and fraternity to create for ourselves fraternal organization to focus on the college students. And the presentation went through how young people right now are being funneled to these Greek organizations, and also different other things that are pulling for the attention and allegiance of our young people, like the academic societies as well. So he went through that presentation, showed the different costs that young people are spending to join these organizations, the average being about $1,500, and how he showed the cost of joining the UNIA and how such a different price difference. Of course, he talked about how he reminded the young brother that creating a confraternity is the first aim of the 11 objects and objectives of UNIA. And some question was asked about the process of joining these organizations on these campuses. And I was able to give some feedback on that. process. And it first starts with the informational session about the organizations, different fraternities, and President General basically said, you get me in front of these students, and we'll get them into the UNIA. So talked about that being a step to go forward in getting members on college campuses to grow fast by creating a fraternal aspect to what we're doing, and approach these colleges with getting on each campus. And that was the report on recruitment from Brother Everett Winchester, and how to do that by focusing on stealing some of the market from the Greek fraternity and sorority and societies, college campus, by growing the presence there. But have any questions on that before we move on?
One thing, I was trying to pull it up. So the young brother that presented, his name is Cameron, and we invited him to Division 421. So he gave that, the brother that developed the presentation presented it during one of our mass meetings. I have it saved and recorded. I'm sure it's on our YouTube page, but some members may remember he was a young brother, and I was saying, here's a young brother that's asking for guidance from the elders, and who can help him out. Some people volunteered, but that same presentation that we saw was the presentation that was given to the parent body at convention. So the young brother, he's out of North Carolina, I think, but he's part of Baltimore division, and he's trying to develop plans and presentations to help with recruitment on the college campuses. So hopefully, we should have more information coming out of that, and that's something that we have to work on locally.
So the last presentation, well, two last presentations, the brother, it was a division out of Curacao. A brother came there, their division 100, and they did a presentation on the top 10 places to visit in Curacao. And President Raymond had actually went over to Curacao when these brothers reached out to him. He told a story about how his cousin came to him talking about the UNIA and how he wanted to get one started in Curacao, this island. And but he told his cousin, after he doing his research, hey, we can't start an organization that's already existed. We need to reach out to him. And they reached out we called him in, and ended up getting called. He said he called President General, and he didn't answer. He called President Raymond, got his number from our website, and he answered right away. And the President Raymond flew out. They gave him a nice, warm reception at the airport, drummers, and so they showed pictures from that when President Raymond went there. And President Raymond was there for about a week, I said, and he just taught them how to really run the division while they were there. They stayed up to 12 to 13 hours. They stayed up late every night. Even when they would have meetings, President Raymond would still, have them up late. They would be going through stuff. And some of them went through the constitutional orientation that President Raymond put together. And he said it was tough. It was difficult for when they went through that. But they showed those pictures from Curacao, gave us a little video on YouTube, the top 10 things to do in Curacao, and some of the pictures from when President Raymond was there. Great farm getting agricultural space there, beaches, islands, and of course, President Duncan talked about having a Liberty Farm there as well. And of course, the Curacao people, brother Josue is his name, sorry, Josue, showed his excitement for that. And they ended up voting on where convention would be next year. And the only other nomination besides Curacao was Washington, D.C., which declined and said they wasn't ready. So Secretary General cast the one vote that Curacao needed to be convention for next year. And that's where convention will be next year in Curacao. On the any questions or comments about that?
I gotta look up where Curacao is.
It's a nice island out there, but it is, and you're pulling it up now.
I don't even know how to spell it.
Curacao.
Curacao.
See, right there.
Okay. Aruba. What in the world?
So yeah, he talked about how most of the people there are bowing to the King of the Netherlands. And there's one person there who he showed pictures of who vowed to never show his face until Black people are liberated. So he walks around with a red, black, and green mask on all the time. And he said they've never seen his face before. And he's a part of some of the members there. The picture, they had about at least 13 to 14 people there who are, I guess, part of the division, and I'm looking forward to growing.
Thank you, First Vice President, for that. Yeah, that's information that I didn't know, but that's what this meeting is about, is getting informed, getting the updates from convention. So that's big news. Next convention next year, 2023, will be in Curacao. Whew. And Washington, D.C. is not ready. That's not a good sign for D.C., but it's not a good sign, honestly. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not an important year. Nobody's really fighting to host convention. So, you know, but thank you, First Vice President.
You're definitely welcome.
Any questions, comments on the report from Convention 2022, 64th International Convention in Detroit?
The last thing was the voting and the appointments, and that was the last thing that happened. And then we had a ball. We had a ball on Friday night, a gala.
Hold on, let me find the agenda. Trying to get the agenda back. Give me 1 second. So, March, practice, how was the ball?
The ball was great. The different appointed officers got sworn in. President Raymond did the keynote speech. So there was on the parent body level, the third assistant president general, I forgot her name, but she stepped down. So that was the open seat. And but Brother Charles Butler was the only person to run for that office. And prior to voting, the president general basically spoke about his disappointment in him.
Brother, First Vice President,
you
don't have to go into that with this group.
All right, cool. Well, the beautiful thing that ended up happening though was President General endorsed him.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful moment for me. It showed that despite what anybody goes through, we can always see the work and commitment that we all have. That was important to see. He was endorsed, and Secretary General cast the one vote that he needed to win. The other appointments was Brother Marua was appointed to High Commissioner.
I was about to say, woo.
High Commissioner.
Oh, so he's like the head commissioner now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Brother Everett, who is the president of 106 now, was appointed to Minister of Information. And yours truly was appointed to District 2 Commissioner.
So first Vice President Brother Macias was appointed to District 2 Commissioner. District 2 is which states?
It's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. And I'm often in both places, back and forth from Philadelphia to Atlanta.
Philadelphia is a city.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, Delaware, and what else? Just those
New
two?
Jersey.
New
New Jersey.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Brother Macias says he expects President General to appoint me as Commissioner of District 5, but I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm open to it. And
Yes.
District 5 is Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida.
Yes. There was a really big push to get young people involved on the High Executive Council, because it was a big talk about passing the torch and being able to do that.
Mhm.
It was a statement that I believe you're only good as the person that comes behind you, or you're
only successful if your successors succeed.
Yes, that was it right there. So that was talked about at the convention on how passing the torch was important.
Yes.
And, yes.
Yes, we were given high praise for our transition from President Ross Marvin to myself. Brother Marua in Chicago Division 401 has a strong second vice president that is in training. So they were praised as well. But yes, we have to have a process of passing the torch, basically. And that includes, in order to be able to do that, we have to be bringing in and developing young people. So that just kind of brings it back to what I was saying in the beginning. Our focus on recruitment must also expand to include development. So any questions, comments on convention? If not, we will move to member share. Okay, Brother Macias, President Ross Marvin, you gonna say something? I see your screen lit up, but never mind. I'll knock out the.
Yes.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
was going to say, thanks for that convention report. It made me feel like I was there, So Amasis and President John, first Vice President Amasis and President John, that was an excellent report at a convention, because I'm familiar with the processing thing, but I didn't attend. But hearing your report, it put me there like I was there with everything that was happening, So thanks. That was a very good report.
Thank you, President Ross Marvin. Yeah,
I would say that was the goal, because I definitely want people to understand how coming to the convention and having that experience is to connect with other divisions. For me, is the greatest thing that I get to do. So, I mean, Curacao is far away, but if you can come, it'll be a great vacation for you next year.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's what this is about. That's what these positions, leadership positions is about. One of the things that I've learned looking at the Constitution and the bylaws, when it comes to president, two key responsibilities of the highest position is, one, we have to be there. You have to be present. Every meeting that we have, the president is supposed to be there. And another important thing is reports. Any meeting that we go to, we should be taking good notes, creating good reports, so that we can bring this information back to the collective. I think Brother Macias is doing a great job. And, hopefully I'm continuing to do a great job, but that's what this is about. And when you really study Garveyism, for one of the things that I see when I really study Garveyism, it's about the development of representatives. That's exactly what he's trying to do. Garvey is trying to develop each of us as strong individuals so that we can be representatives for our communities, for our states, for whatever, But when you look at the course of African philosophy, that's what that that's a big takeaway that I get from that course is teaching you to be a representative. But, that's what self-reliance is about. We're not doing all of this studying and training so that we know who to vote for. That is part of it, but the other part of it is doing the studying and training so we know what offices to run for, so we should be developing ourselves to be representatives and not, just criticizing, what our representatives are doing for us. That's the easy route out, but I don't think that's Garveyism to just say, this is what my politician does. This is what our council member does. If we're not developing ourselves to sit in those positions in 2022 as Africans globally, we're still playing around, and I don't think we've grasped the message of Marcus Garvey, in my opinion. So that's all I had to say. Go ahead, First Vice President.
I apologize. I did miss one of the most important parts of the convention at the gala was the honoring of our UNIA elders that were there. People who had been in the UNIA for 20, 30, 40 years. You had two people there who were there in the UNIA for 40 years. King Oji was one of them who was there, and Shaka Baraka's. I'm sorry, I remember the lady's name, but we had a couple people that was there 40 years, two from 30, and one for over 20 years. So it was about 5 people that was honored at the gala for their continued service in the UNIA.
So, yes, very, very important. That's something that First Vice President and myself had talked about quite a bit, was recognition and the importance of recognition. So, again, if we're not acknowledging and honoring those that are serving and doing the work, what are we doing? We gotta get rid of some of this European culture to where we don't really recognize each other, honor each other, and give each other flowers while we're alive. So that's something else that Division 421 will be looking at, and we had talked about in depth, was the importance of recognition. And that's why I wanted to make sure I acknowledge Baba James and the work that he has been doing, not only at Garvey Day, but stepping up for the Legion, promoting for Garvey Day, since election, everywhere I've needed Baba James, he's been there. So thank you again, Baba James. If there's nothing else, we will move to member share. If you would, let me please get to the conference call. We'll do those first because I have to step out. I'll do the conference call, and then I will leave you in the capable hands of our First Vice President. 1 second.
Well, I was just gonna end the call because it's 7:30. The meeting end at 8 o'clock, and we just started membership. I see it's like 14 people on one side, and it's a lot of people on the other side. We're gonna be going too long. If somebody got something important to say, I want to shut it down.
Okay. Y'all heard it. First Lady, Vice President. Only, does anybody have anything critical or important to say before we move to close? Everybody thinking now, like, man, my stuff is important. Anybody? Hold on. Why is the echo so bad? Brother Omar, speak again.
Yeah, brother. I just got one thing to mention.
Go ahead, brother.
Which was I think most of you have already heard about Sister Ava.
Oh yeah. Passing of Sister Ava, national spokesperson to Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if we're not aware, the sister was on a tour to deal with the reparation and separation tour to talk about a separate territory and nation of our own, along with the reparation. It was just a sudden situation. I got a text call around about 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was very disturbing because it seemed like, as I always say, prepare for war in a time of peace, prepare for peace in a time of war. And right now, the Black movement is definitely under attack. Malik Zulu Shabazz, we get death threats. As we know prior, that Grandmaster Jay had also got death threats. There was 3 individuals, activists who worked on the Breonna Taylor case. 2 of them, they say, committed suicide. The other one, they say, was killed. And if you recall the Michael Brown case, there was Brother Seals, along with 2 other brothers who were activists, all 3 were shot in the head and the car was set on fire. Those cases have not been updated. And as if you have not heard also that Tariq Nasheed, and I don't know whether everybody knows Tariq Nasheed, but they might know Hidden Colors. He got a visit from the FBI. And mind you, that when I come on the call, and I'm not exempt from these activities. My mother, years ago, got a visit from the FBI concerning me. Also, they have surveillance as well, including surveillance drones monitoring our activities. So COINTELPRO is expanding its operation. And as we also know, there was 3 other sites hit from the African People's Socialist Party. One site was hit in Florida, one was hit in St. Louis, and the other one was in California, all raided by the FBI. These are the same FBI who raided Grandmaster Jay, INFAC leader, house as well. So we have to understand that COINTELPRO is still operating 2022, 2021, and we have to be mindful of that. And also, we had a brother recently assaulted by the police for Cleveland, New Era, Detroit. Remember, but he was in Cleveland, so it's the Cleveland chapter where Anton Halbert was also arrested, which there's a pending lawsuit which was filed a few days ago. And as I always say, prepare for peace in the time of war, prepare for war in the time of peace. We have to understand that all these are connected. And not only was there a raiding on these raids going on in the United States, there was also raids going in Palestine, where 6 non-government organizations, meaning organizations that work to help the community, was raided by the Israeli Army, FBI. And out of the 7 that was raided, they wanted to label these civic organizations as terrorist groups. So I know sometimes we get busy and someone have to keep up with what's going on with our people, for the Africans at home and abroad.
Yes, sir.
So we have to keep up when we're under attack like this because we're not aware. So we're trying to intensify the security. We're trying to intensify the security of our political leaders as well as our activists, because not just Malcolm, Martin, and Fred Hampton was killed by the FBI. We also know that there's continuous attacks on our people. So we always say, prepare for peace in the time of war, prepare for war in the time of peace. Peace to the family.
Thank you, Brother Omar. Excellent summary and update. But again, yeah, we do apologize for time, our time constraints. And is there anyone else that has any critical comments to add to the discussion? If not, we will move to close, and we'll be better about time on our next meeting. This was a very important meeting, reviewing convention. It wasn't really planned. I had talked with our first vice president as well as our first lady vice president about 30 minutes before the call. And we just kind of, discussed what we were going to do. But I didn't think it would take as long as it did. So if you're going to blame anybody, you can put that on me. But next meeting, I don't have my agenda up to see what the topic is. But I don't really think it matters too much. But I'll, just so we'll have a heads up. But everyone should have the email from February 14th. First Lady Vice President sent that out to detail the entire yearly schedule for this year. Today, we were going to touch on UNIA versus USA. This was supposed to be our topic, but we switched it to review convention. Next meeting will be September 3rd, and we don't really got a topic. Yeah, we don't have a topic, so we depending on how the weeks go and the current events to happen, we may end up doing USA versus UNIA part 1 on September. Why does that seem like that's too early? 28th.
September 3rd, isn't that executive meeting?
Executive. Okay, I missed that part. So that's executive meeting. September 11th will be the next time we meet as a group. Yeah. Thank you, President Ross Marvin. And Ross Marvin, I'm gonna give you a call a little bit later. You had some people looking for you while you were out. I forgot you were out of town, but I let them know. But I just want to touch bases with you. With that being said, 7:31, we are closing early tonight, and I guess we'll go ahead and officially close out the meeting. Thank everybody for coming on. This is unusual. I don't really like closing the meeting without giving everybody a chance to speak, but we have to do that tonight. So on the 11th, I'll make sure we're good on time and everyone has a chance to speak for membership. But again, I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. And if you would, everybody come off mute and we will close out as we always do with the motto of the UNIA. If you would, repeat after me. One God.
One God.
One aim.
One aim.
One destiny.
One destiny.
One destiny.
Africa.
Africa. For the Africans.
For the Africans.
The Africans.
Those at home.
Those at home. And those abroad.
Race first.
Race first, families.
Peace.
September 11th.
Peace.
Peace, family.